You're watching Access Minnesota. Here's Jim Dubois.
We've seen how the University of Minnesota is approaching its realignment of its liberal arts program. Now for a look at a private college, let's talk with MaryAnn Baenninger, the president of the College of St. Benedict. Our guest is MaryAnn Baenninger. She is the president of the College of St. Benedict. President Baenninger, welcome to Access Minnesota.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Currently, there seems to be a lot of concern amongst liberal arts schools. Not only do we read in newspapers and magazines articles that report on the increasing amount of debt incurred by students and also the poor job prospects, but in the last few years there have been some books that have come out that actually question the value of liberal arts education and whether academia is failing students. In your opinion, is there a crisis?
Well, I'm the president of a liberal arts college, so I would say, is there an economic crisis? Certainly. Is there a crisis in the liberal arts sector? Absolutely not. I mean, start with the premise of jobs. If you look at the liberal arts sector, the vast majority of our students get jobs. In my institution, for example, in the past 2 recession years, the employment rate of recent graduates was 70%, which is exactly the number of students who were seeking employment. Another 20% went to graduate school, and another 10% chose to volunteer, which is, of course, preparation for employment. So I think, you know, in this economy, I expect there's a shift in what kinds of jobs students are getting right out of college, but it's a fundamental myth that liberal arts college graduates don't get jobs.
Many liberal arts schools are re-examining their programs and curriculum. The U of M, for example, just completed an outline called CLA, College of Liberal Arts 2015. Has St. Benedict made any changes to the way it teaches liberal arts, or are there plans for changes in the future?
Oh, that's a great question. And absolutely, we've made changes, but maybe not the kinds of changes that you'd expect. Liberal arts colleges are colleges that have tended to stick very close to their knitting, to focus on sort of those core educational skill sets that students need. So we don't tend to shift our curricula for external factors. Now that seems, you know, maybe, a little bit stodgy, you're not responsive to what's happening in the environment, but in fact, the opposite is true. If you're teaching the right skill set, then you should be training students for any job in any environment. Now, so that being said, we're not, for example, dropping German so that we can teach computer repair and networking. So we're not doing that kind of shifting in the economy. But what we are doing is saying, how do we take the core liberal arts values that we have, and how do we keep those continuously adaptable for the economy? So for example, you'll see more focus at College of St. Benedict and our partner St. John's University on our Asian studies programs. We introduced an Asian studies major. We've upped the number of students studying in China. We've introduced Chinese language. We've focused more on Japanese language than we have in the past, and we've started a study abroad program in Calcutta in India. So here you see basically the same core skill set, but a shift to responsiveness to what's happening globally. So a change from one type of curriculum to another? No, but a responsiveness to changes in the world, certainly.
Do you ever hear your students question the tuition cost and ask, what am I getting for this?
You know, actually, they do, and I've been very open with our students about tuition. Last year, we had a fairly robust tuition increase because we found that without that increase, we couldn't continue to improve the programs as we wanted to improve them. We have a strategic plan. We know what we need for our students to succeed, and without that tuition increase, we felt that we couldn't do that. And I went to the students and I described that dilemma. And frankly, it's not true that they had a role in the decision-making process, but indeed when they heard how the judgments were made and how ultimately the Board of Trustees made the decision, they were supportive.
In your opinion, what are the most important skills acquired through a liberal arts education?
You know, people say critical thinking, writing. I would say there are other kinds of skills that are not so much academic. Resourcefulness, resilience, adaptability, the ability to solve problems for which you don't necessarily have all the facts. So for example, we have first-year students in a math, physics, computer science program for young women who are building robots within a couple of weeks after they come in the door. Now, these are young women who really have no experience building robots, and they probably couldn't tell you the robot building vocabulary, and they're not necessarily planning to be engineers. But what we're trying to show them is that you can actually solve the problem of building a robot by engaging in certain sets of skills. And they do involve things like critical thinking and applying the math skills that you've learned. But tenacity, resourcefulness, the ability to look at things from different directions, the ability to take a problem and take everything that you've learned so far and apply that to the problem to solve it, that's what a liberal arts education gives you. Tonight, actually, next door from where we're sitting, in a corporate setting, I'm meeting prospective parents and students. And one of the things they'll say to me is, you know, is a major in English going to get my daughter or my son a job? And my response will be, if you come to liberal arts college, a major in English will get your daughter or son any kind of a job. It may take a little bit more education after, but think of the foundation and the strength they're going to have combining that ability to think with, and that tenacity that I'm talking about and the resourcefulness, with some fact-based learning along the way. You should be able to do anything with a liberal arts degree.
President Baenninger, what do you foresee in the future for liberal arts colleges in general and specifically for St. Benedict?
I think that there's going to be, let me talk broadly a little bit. One of the best things about higher education in the United States is its diversity, and people who talk about education hear that all the time. If we don't continue to protect every sector of higher education. So the Research One institution at one end that is, you know, doing cutting edge research in healthcare, in technology, the community college at the other end that's providing access for students who really otherwise wouldn't go to college, the technical institution, all of those institutions, we all have to make sure that they're going to survive. That being said, I think liberal arts colleges are actually going to thrive because as we move forward technologically and globally, the adaptability and the pace of change is going to be so rapid that you're not going to need to or have to have the facts or have specific learning. You're going to have that resourcefulness and that adaptability. So I think the future is bright. At College of St. Benedict, we're a college for women, but we are completely coeducational with our partner, St. John's University, a college for men. And that gives us a little bit of a unique place because we also focus on gender. And as we're moving now in 2011 to questions of, you know, are boys going to school? Are women going to achieve their rightful place in the corporate sector and the scientific sector? Are we actually going to get, you know, somewhere in terms of parity of numbers and salaries and things like that? A focus on gender is going to become increasingly important. So that's a niche that we have that I hope gives us a little bit more of a leg up in the liberal arts sector as well.
MaryAnn Baenninger, President of the College of St. Benedict, thanks so much for joining us on Access Minnesota.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
That's all for this month's edition of Access Minnesota. We'll see you next month. Thanks for watching.
Access Minnesota. Issues that matter to you. Join us again next week as we bring you the newsmakers and stories that shape our everyday lives. Access Minnesota is produced by the Minnesota Broadcasters Association in cooperation with the University of Minnesota's College of Liberal Arts.